Welcome back to Moms Without Filter, Part-2 of Feminism. What is our rights to our bodies as women?
Within those, the 6 week point, you get that heartbeat, all this other stuff, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about
9 weeks.
when the heartbeat is.
9 weeks. No, it's 6 weeks, and I think 9 weeks is the first time that you can actually get an ultrasound, because that's when it can be detected. At 9, and I think there are most states will allow you to get an abortion up to 3 months, where the abortion laws are different, and you can get an abortion. I think it's up to 3 months.
Depends in which state you're in.
Correct.
Yeah.
See, this is where it gets a whole lot of like.
Oh yeah, you can go a million ways with it.
It's difficult because listen, there's testing that can get done at 9 weeks, right? So these testings can show you if the baby is gonna have any type of defects, any issues, if the baby is most likely to be. I don't know if it's to be stillborn or not, but there's tests that are done that can show you a lot of the genetic profile of your child, including the gender.
Yeah, as early as 6 weeks.
As early as 9 weeks.
Earlier than that, 6 weeks.
Oh, it's 6 weeks now. The last time that I did it was 9 weeks.
Oh,
but
yeah,
anyway, that was like 3-4 years ago. But what I'm saying is, this is where it gets difficult, because I do truly believe that every woman has a right to choose if they want to abort or not. But there should be a time limit. It should not go past a certain point.
Pause you for a second. I don't mean to be interrupted, but it's going to be with what you're saying.
I think we need to move on to the other questions.
We will. But because remember, the whole thing is about women's rights, and rights are laws. That's why I'm trying to get black and white. I'm trying to get black and white, because when you go vague, you go nowhere.
Well, okay, so then, all right, black and white, simple.
At how many weeks?
At how many weeks?
What's the cutoff for someone to have an abortion?
9 weeks should be the cutoff. I think 9 weeks should be the cutoff.
Okay.
Because that's where you can detect a lot of shit, at 9 weeks.
Yeah, and as you've already proven yourself, as we advance with technology, you're going to be able to detect things
way sooner, I guess.
At conception, probably. But hey, I'm just going to say my belief. I'm just going to recap with what you guys said, and then we're going to move on.
Okay. I mean, you're handling this whole thing.
Let's go. What I'm saying is, the reason why I think life begins at conception, because the moment conception happens, there's a unique DNA. It's a script.
Okay.
And if you let the script play out, the baby's going to be born.
Okay, so yeah.
So unless someone interrupts the process, in my opinion, murder, then the baby's going to be born. Yeah, something may happen the same way. This is why I mentioned this. I could easily step out, trip on the step, and die. Things happen, but those aren't done on purpose. So, and that wouldn't be murder. That'd just be an accident. But, Andrea personally is not okay with abortion herself. She would never do it, but she is okay with other women having the right to do it. Is there any limitations to that?
I don't think there's any limitations. I specifically wouldn't vote on a law that takes away a woman's right to choose.
Would you vote for a law, let's say it's nationwide, every single state has to abide by it, that says women have the right to an abortion if they were raped or the mother's life was in danger?
Yes.
Which means that law would ban elective abortions.
No.
That's when you are putting it in black and white terms like that, yes. Then it would ban. I agree. Okay, I agree, but it would ban elective abortion. Now, if it was whether you banned elective abortion or you banned abortion slow altogether, if it was one or the other, I would choose the one that is the lesser of the two evils, where the women that or children that could be suffering in that situation would have the choice.
You have the third option too. You can also say make abortion completely legal. So you have three options.
I would pick the third one because it is not my.
Listen, it is not even us as women. It is not even our fucking jurisdiction to tell another woman, you should do this, you should do that with your own fucking body. If we're doing black and white, here we are. Black and white, plain, fucking point, blank, simple. A woman's body should be to a fucking woman's body, and that is it. There should be no politics into it. There should be nothing of anything. I get it. I get it. I get it. But black and white.
Think about it. So.
Here we go. Black and white. Should the government be in our reproductive system?
This is feminism.
No.
Okay.
Should women have the right to do whatever the fuck they please with their body? Yes.
Even if you think it was murder. Andrea, you have to say yes to that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. Should women have the right to their abortions, should women have the right to government-funded abortions?
Like the government pays for it.
Yes.
I'm gonna say yes, absolutely. I absolutely do.
Before you answer that question, Andrea, she answered it already. Should people in general, all genders, should have the right to their property? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you the same question again, the first one I asked you. Should women have the right to government-funded abortions?
I feel that's a gray area for me because I see the economy and the downward spiral that we're facing. And I feel like in some circumstances where women have government funded medical assistance, should their insurance cover all or majority of it? Probably. But at the same time, I also feel like the system is abused and we pay for a lot, not just in the abortion, but as taxpayers, we pay for a lot of things that the government shouldn't pay for because there are other outlets.
All right, let me ask you the question in a different way. Should women have the right to government-funded selective abortions? Health is not an issue.
I feel like if it's your choice, then it should be something that you take care of yourself.
Well, okay, I agree with you. I agree with you because you would be encroaching on the right to people's private property if you were to take people's hard-earned money to pay for someone else's selective abortion. That'd be a step too far.
Sorry to interrupt, but I feel like in that case, should they, like in some medical situations, you have to pay for something before you do it? Should I think there should be like a sliding scale or something that helps them if it's their choice and it's a medical decision and then should there be a process and where they can pay for it over time? Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're saying women should have the right to government loans to elective abortions.
I'm saying that everyone should have the right to health care and should have the right to choose what the fuck they want to do with their body. And I think that healthcare should be universal, and that is just that.
Yeah, and I know universal health care, that's a whole nother topic. I'll just
Oh, no, yeah, we're not even going to go there.
I'd say for kids up to the age of 18, universal health care. After that point, as an adult, you have to take care of yourself. We don't want to incentivize people to live lives that aren't so healthy
Right.
by basically
By just
funding that lifestyle.
Yeah. No, but
There should be natural consequences for the choices you make. The moment you take natural consequences away, those choices are made more often.
But how true is that?
100% true. I can prove it to you.
So in Canada,
In
prove
Canada.
it to me.
Well, right now, Canada's waiting times for serious medical procedures are not good.
We're talking waiting times. I'm talking about
Well, people are dying.
people with abortions in Canada. Is that?
I don't know much. I'll have to look at. I don't know what the abortion situation. I can't even tell you what their law is. I'm assuming it's probably completely legal. That's my
It's
assumption.
universal health care, right?
That's
so
my assumption.
how could it not be?
I
But
don't know,
anyways,
'cause they may not look at it as a health concern because that would be an elective abortion. That'd be an elective abortion. But we can move on. But just to recap, Maria is okay with other. She wouldn't do it herself personally, but she's okay with other women having the choice to an abortion and even possibly being government funded by taxpayers.
I looked it up, and it says here in Canada, abortion is legal and accessible with no specific law restricting it. It is considered a medical procedure under the Canada Health Act, meaning it is it's publicly funded.
Okay. Yeah. I don't agree with that. But and you know if the question is, are there any consequences of this kind of allowance of this freedom? I'd say big time. Yes. The birth rate is the lowest it's ever been. We can't even replace our population right now. How low our birth rate is. So Social Security, now that we're jumping all over the place, but Social Security is not stable right now. If our birth rate continues in the fashion that it's going, we're not at a replacement rate. So there's more people. Or I should say, yeah, there's more people dying than there are.
Do we need to replace the billions of people though?
Yes.
Are we not overpopulated?
No. You can take the entire population of the world and put them in Rhode Island, and they would live comfortably. The population of the world is 8 billion. I can tell you that, right? I mean, world population 8 billion.
Population
6.2 billion.
And they're all in New York.
No, obviously not.
2 million people.
There you go. The low ball, 8 billion. I said 8 to 14 million.
8 million. Okay, so anyways, not even if that made any fucking sense to the conversation.
But we're talking about whether or not our population needs to be replaced.
That's true. That's true.
If you care about Social Security, you want to replace it because then you're gonna have a thin workforce. Right. You're gonna be drying these youngsters out, taking care of the overpopulated elderly. You know, if you have less children and more elderly people, then you have a less effective society.
Right. Okay. So let's move on because
if
we keep doing this, we're gonna keep going. So question 3 is, how has feminism impacted gender roles and equality in society? And I'll just start off by saying my answer. So I put that feminism has helped challenge traditional expectations of what women and men should do. It's opened doors for women in education, work, politics, and changed conversations around parenting, identity, and consent. There's more visibility, more choices, but the work isn't done. Meaning that, yeah, you know, we have had some great strides within our gender roles, meaning that there are a lot more men who stepped up and are being what you would call the mom in the situation, right? Not a lot of men do that, but it's also opened doors for us women in the roles of being able to do jobs as men do. Do we get paid the same? No, but that's another question, so don't worry. We'll get to that. But it has opened doors for us women to actually physically do men's work. So the main idea for what I'm saying is that it's opened up doors because back in the day, women weren't allowed to get a higher education because they had to stay home with their children. Or they weren't able to work in a field as a man because then they were looked at in a different light.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
So you're saying feminism affected gender roles by allowing women to be in what used to be dominated by male figures.
Yes.
Andrea?
Semi-agree. I would say that it has opened doors to the idea of it, but I don't think that we have made enough progress where women have the same rights in employment and education. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the norm or the stereotype of the stay-at-home mom and the, you know, housewife and all that is still prevalent, and people want that change, and people, especially women, want that change. They want the equality, but I don't think it has affected gender roles enough to where enough of a change has made a difference.
I agree with that.
Okay, so I would say, and I don't even have an answer for this one, I somehow skipped this question, but just off the top of my head, how has feminism affected gender roles? I would say it destroyed the role of motherhood and fatherhood and nuclear family.
So you're saying it destroyed the idea of what a normalized family should look like?
Family, yeah. I would say that for sure.
Don't say nuclear, but just say normal.
But that's mom and dad.
What a normal, yes. Yeah. You have a family, you have a woman at home.
We should define terms, that's good.
Yes, yeah. You have a woman at home, cooking, cleaning, and you're at work.
And I think it caused the current biggest problem that women have, which I think is one of your other questions actually, what problems that women face, which is dualism, or I don't know if that's the right term, but living dual lives, where they're trying to be the breadwinner, but at the same time trying to fit a traditional role of being the home.
50-50 or no?
And it's an act that only few, maybe I don't even know, women can actually do. Fair, yes.
Like back in the day.
For sure.
Still come home after their 9 to 5, cook, clean, take care of kids, go to bed. That's a traditional wife.
With a husband at home?
With the husband who just came home at the same time.
So they're both working. They're both working.
Yeah. Well, just like me. Look, I work, but I work from home. But I'm also cooking, I'm also cleaning, I'm also taking care of my kids while I'm working. That doesn't happen for a lot of people. For example, Andrea works on the weekends, but she's at home with her babies Monday through Friday, and she's taking care of them. She's cooking, she's cleaning. But not only that, on the weekends when she does go to work, she's coming home, she's cooking, she's cleaning, she's taking care of kids. I think that a lot of it has been forgotten. Like, yeah, we want the traditional mama being at home taking care of the kids, cleaning, cooking, but we're forgetting that the economy is not well suited for that, right? Because mommy was able to stay home, take care of us. We can't do that now. And even living on a income household, that is still fucking, so you know what I mean? Like, that's still, I barely survived.
You have to ask what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Hold on, let me explain this. I know you don't want to talk about politicians. This is one who's actually on the opposite side of the aisle from where I sit. Elizabeth Warren. Are you familiar with that name? She actually wrote a book, the two income trap. Like, coming from her, I'm like, oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting that. But she wrote a book about how when feminism began and convinced women to be in the workforce, that's actually when two-parent income homes became necessary. Because the way the economy works is supply and demand. So if you have two incomes in the household, meaning these people have a little more money to spend, they're going to spend that money.
But wait a minute. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
But let me finish. In order for you to compete, you also have to have a two-income household, or you're always going to be beat by the family that has two incomes.
But how does that make any? Okay, so you're saying that the world around us
So what came first?
didn't fucking just start raising prices and become crazily, expensive. It was just us women decided we wanted to fucking work. So then, hey, there goes the economy.
Well, there's a number of reasons why things become expensive. One of the reasons, not to get crazy with it, but this is 100% true. Minimum wage is one of them.
That's not on us though.
No,
that's not on us.
I'm
Women
just saying.
who started working.
I'm just saying.
Never in my life have seen it so expensive.
But if you're wondering why was it possible, or how was it possible for the man, the single breadwinner, the single income household, not only to live comfortably. I mean, you would say in the 50s they lived even more comfortably than we do now. How were they able to manage to do it?
Everything was low. Property taxes were low.
There's a lot of things that go into it, but what I'm saying, one of the factors is the two-income household trap. I really do think that's one of the factors.
All right. Well, I'll have to read the book because I don't read the book. That bullshit. But anyway, so let's move on.
Well, hold on. Let's wait a minute. Because Andrea wanted to say something.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I agree with both of you on this, but I believe that the gender roles in some households are still very much alive. Like in my household, my husband is the sole breadwinner. I don't have to work. I choose to work as an escape. I don't want to say from my children and my home, but as like a break to get out of the house and socialize because I have very little kids. So in some instances, it is still feasible. Yes, the economy does not always allow for that, but I know what Anthony's saying about how the more you make, the more they want. And as by they, I mean the government. The more a family makes, the higher prices are going to be because they know you have the money to spend. If you didn't have the money, they're going to work around what the average American makes.
Right. In order for their business to survive, they have to set a price that people can actually afford. If not, you have product but no customers. So it's going to be based on what you can afford. You have two incomes, you can afford more. And that's the natural thing. I'm not even against that. That's capitalism, and that's fine.
And that's another thing we talk about. But my personal opinion is feminism hasn't impacted gender roles because, yes, now there are women out there that are trying to be the sole breadwinner. Not every relationship is equal. In my instance, it is equal. We're both trying to do something that we enjoy as a career as well as take care of our kids. I'm not the only one who does stuff around the house. Am I the sole one? Yes. My personal belief is if the man goes to work and does most of the work, should the women be helping mostly at home? Yes. But I also believe that men should help. It shouldn't just be women because you both made the children, you both live in the house.
Andrea, Nani,
husband.
Well, okay, you and your husband are one team, so you're included as one.
Personal belief.
So this is why I say I believe feminism destroyed the nuclear family, the traditional family, because it has promoted, it has pushed, it has convinced, it has persuaded women to follow a career path versus raising a child on their own. Now, it's 100% persuasion.
To want to be successful, but not a woman.
Well, somebody's got to bring the money. It could be the woman, if the man wants to stay home.
But we're talking that money.
But money, I'm not saying money. I said that just a language. Money is just language for the production. What you produce.
Okay, so let's sum this up.
Finish this real quick. what I'm saying, because I'm going back to what I initially said about how feminism is destroying the nuclear family. What I'm saying is when you have advocacies or advocates out there who are pushing for, let's say, a quota, you have to have so many women here, you have to have so many women there. If you have women here and you have women there, then you obviously don't have them in the house. So where are the kids? The kids are at public schools, the kids are at daycare, and they're being raised by people who aren't the true stakeholders. The choices they make on that child's daily lives will not affect them, not even a year from the choice that they made. So we're leaving it in the hands of people who can give to kids.
Are you saying?
What I'm saying, the kids, we will have such a better, and we had such a better life, I guess, if you promote if you promote the mother raising the child. The more often a mother raises her own child, the better we are as a society. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna skip over question 4 because we kind of went over it already within this question.
What was the question?
Can men be feminists? I think we kind of just like.
I think that's easy. We can all say yes. Anyone who fights for women's rights.